Hey guys, welcome to my legal classes. I'm your teacher Ganesh Pujari and today I am going to teach you one of the easiest and interesting topic from the Transfer of Property Act 1882, that is apportionment, which is discussed under section number 36 and 37 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882. Now, apportionment. If you are a Kannada medium or Telugu, Malayalam, Tamil or Hindi medium student and now trying to write exam in English and opening the book of Transfer of Property Act, you will like totally confused. What's happening with my life? Has English become so difficult these days? No. English is same, but the language used in Transfer of Property Act is so difficult that you start feeling you are in a different world. Now let's come to this word apportionment. Have you ever heard this word apportionment? Maybe not, right? But maybe you have heard it also. Now let me give an example. You are going to a hotel and you are with your friend. Both of you are not that hungry but you want to have your food. So what does you do? You order for a biryani thinking that we'll share it. When the biryani comes, you take 50% of that biryani and rest of the portion you give it to your friend. Now have you heard this word portion? You heard, right? The same word portion here used as apportionment. So it's very easy word. Portion is discussed as apportionment under Transfer of Property Act 1882 under section number 36 and 37. Now when they are saying apportionment, let's try and understand what does legally they mean under the Transfer of Property Act 1882. As always, let me get into the picture first. Let me help you guys to understand the concept with an illustration and then let's get into business with the legal language. Now you can see a home here, a beautiful home, and A is the owner of this home. And what does A do with this home? He is giving this home on rent purpose to Mr. B. So what is the consideration for A? B is giving 30,000 rupees rent to A on monthly basis. Now B is the tenant, A is the owner. B is paying 30,000 rupees rent to A on monthly basis and there was no issue. But now if you see the upper part of the slide, there you can see the numbers from 1 to 30th. What is that? That is a month. Okay. On this particular month, on 21st of that day, that month, Mr. A sells the property to Mr. C. So at the end of the month, when B is paying the rent, whom should he pay the rent? He had two owners now. From 1st to 20th, he had a owner. And 21st to 30th he had a different owner. Now what should he do? He has two opportunities. One, either he can pay from 1st to 20th rupees 20,000 to Mr. A and from 21st to 30th a new owner C 10,000 rupees to C. Or C is his new owner, so he can give the entire 30,000 rupees to Mr. C and C, being the transferee or the buyer of that home, has to give 20,000 rupees to A for the first 20 days because A was the owner. Now when this situation arises, only when the sale contract, sale deed doesn't specify anything on this particular time, then this situation arises. If they have a specific clause, then there is no issue. But absence of clause makes them to make this apportionment that A will get 20 days benefit for being the owner because he was the owner, so he gets 20,000 rupees. And 21st onwards, C is the owner, so for the last 10 days, C will get the benefit from the property, which is 10,000 rupees. That is called apportionment. Hope that's clear now. Let's see the legal language in the next slide. Apportionment of periodical payments under section number 36. The 36th section says apportionment of periodical payments on determination of interest of person entitled. Now this I have made into two parts. Let's understand the first part. In the absence of a contract or local usage, guys, this is very important. If the contract has mentioned a clause on this particular period, then there is no issue. Or if there is a local usage of understanding this term, then there is no issue. Only when there is absence of clause in the contract or local usage, to the contrary, all rents, annuities, pensions, dividends and other periodical payments. Okay, what and all are covered here? Rents, annuities, pensions, dividends and other periodical payments. What happens with them? Upon the transfer of interest of the person entitled to receive such payments be deemed as between the transferor and the transferee. So it is being distributed between the transferor and transferee to occur due from day to day and to be apportionable accordingly, but to be payable on the days appointed for the payment thereof. So what happens with all these incomes come from rents, annuities, pension, dividends, or any other periodical payments will be distributed based on the time period of that such transaction happened. So in our above case, which I discussed in the first slide, A will get for 20 days rent and C will get the rest 10 days rent, because ownership for first 20 days was A and the rest 10 days was C. Hope that's very clear. With that, I am moving to section number 37. Now 36 deals with individual buyer. 37, the only difference is there are multiple buyers. Let's try understand the multiple buyers case. Again, I have a same home. I know you got distracted with that sheep looking at you, but don't look at that sheep now. I will come to that sheep later. It's already making some indication to you, so let's focus on the study. Now, what does section number 37 says? Apportionment of benefit of obligation on severance or division. When there are multiple partners are there, what happens with this apportionment? Now, A has this beautiful home which is quite costly. B, C and D wants to buy the home, but they cannot buy individually. So what does they do? They put a share. Now B puts 50% of the contribution, C puts 30% of the contribution and D puts 20% of the contribution. They makes 100% by 50, 30, 20% contribution for the property and buy it. Now currently when A was selling this property, E was in rent in that home. Okay. Now what was E paying to A? He was paying rupees 30,000 per month along with the fat sheep. Guys, this is the lease term. What is the lease term? E has to pay rupees 30,000 per month to A along with the fat month. Every month he would give a fat sheep. Sorry, fat month nahi, fat sheep. So he would give 30,000 rupees along with the fat sheep. That was the lease agreement. Now when the ownership transfers, how does E make the payment? For E, it's very easy to distribute 30,000 rupees. What does he do? He pays 15,000 to B, 9,000 to C and 6,000 to C, because B has 50% of the rent share. So he gets 50% of the rent, which is 15,000 from 30,000, and C has given 30% of the share. So he gets 30% from 30,000, which is 9,000 rupees, and D has made 20% of the contribution in the share. So he gets 20% of 30,000 rupees, which is 6,000. So it's very easy mathematical calculation. But what happens with the sheep? B, C and D will discuss internally and tell E to whom to give the sheep. That's very clear. Okay. Based on their direction, E will give the fat sheep to one among the three. Okay. That's all about apportionment of benefit of obligation on severance or division, which is discussed under section number 37. There is a case law for this, Rajasimhadri Apparao versus Pratipati Ramaya. Okay, you can remember this as Simhadri Appa versus Ramaya. In this case, it was held that if there are multiple sharers, the profit should be shared between the multiple sharers, as well as if there is any liability, the liability should also be shared among the sharers based on the share that have the contribution percentage, right? Hope that's very clear. With that, I am moving to the next slide, which is on the conditions of severance. There are three conditions for division that we need to learn, and with that I am closing this session. Let's try understand what are these three conditions. One, there should be a notice to the tenant or lessee, whoever is staying in the home. For example, in previous case, we have seen E is staying in that home as a lessee. Now, lessee should get a notice that what is the percentage, what is the portion that they are making the payment, or what is the share level, so that he can make the distribution accordingly. So he should get a notice. Number two, amount should be of severable. Now, in the previous case, 30,000 can be severable, can be divided. But what happens with the sheep? That is coming to a discussion between BCD, and they discuss and give a guidance to E here, E in our case. Now, if it is not divisible, then E is not responsible. There should be an understanding between B, C, D, and they should give the guidance to the lessee, and lessee should make the payment accordingly. And there should not be any increase of burden on the tenant or lessee. Now, for example, he is staying in that home, and if in that village or town there is a rule that every home will contribute 10 man days for a public service. Okay, now BCD are new owners. Now they cannot increase the number of days that he has to serve for the government purpose. That remains same. The burden will not increase on the tenant because of the ownership change. That's very important thing we need to understand when we are studying condition of severance. Now I am repeating, there should be a notice to the tenant or lessee, and amount should be of severable. It should be there should be a possibility of dividing that amount or thing whatsoever. The profit should be divisible between the sharers, and then it should be not increase. It should not increase any burden on the tenant or lessee. That's all, guys. This is about apportionment. I'm coming with the new class next time. Till then, subscribe my channel, comment, like, share my videos, and all the very best for your exams. With that, I'm concluding. Thank you so much for watching me. Thank you.